going up to 1.7. We're using a study guide to go over the notes. You may want to have some highlighters out. All right, we're looking at area of a rectangle. Let's just go over the basic formulas. Area of a rectangle, area equals length times width. Side times side, length times width. Area of a rectangle. You don't need to write this down. I just want to talk to you first about this. If area of a rectangle is one side times another side, length times width, that's area of a rectangle. What happens if I go like this? Now what shape have I created? I've created a triangle here. So what do you think the area of our triangle is going to be then? Exactly. If length times width is the area of the entire thing, then if I want the area of a triangle, I would do, so area of a rectangle, we know is length times width. If I want area of a triangle, then I would cut it in half and multiply by length times width. That's where they're getting the area formula for a triangle. On this, they're calling it base times height, because if I have a square, which we'll find out, a square, the area of a square would be the base times the height. Area of a square is your base times the height. And notice that that height is perpendicular. That's going to be important, that your height is always perpendicular. And again, if I cut that in half, then area of that triangle would be half the side times side. Here they're calling it base times height. That's where they're getting this from in the formula right now. It would be a square, right? But it's been cut in half. Height always has to be that perpendicular height, straight up and down, 90-degree angle. That's how you always know what the H is going to be, and the base will always be the bottom. And so we see that area of a triangle then is 1/2 base times height. We're cutting it in half, but we're still going to multiply side times side. All right, let's do some examples. Down at the bottom, area, find the area of each figure. Well, we know area of a rectangle. Look at your formula. So if area is length times width, then my area would be 3 centimeters times 5 centimeters. 3 times 5 is 15. And then centimeter times centimeter is going to be centimeters squared. Try the next one, number 2. Find the area. 15 times 10. 15 times 1 is 15. So 15 times 10 is 150. And that would be yards squared for area. And then we have the next figure, area of a triangle. We know that area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times that perpendicular height. The more you write down your formulas, the better it will get into your head. And so our base here is 13. It's at the bottom. The base is 13 millimeters. The perpendicular height is 7 millimeters. I would start by multiplying 13 times 7. Go off to the side and multiply down. Multiply what 13 times 7 is. So 13 millimeters times 7 millimeters is 91 millimeters squared. And then you just need to multiply by 1/2. Multiplying by 1/2. Do you know what half of 90 is? If you don't, think about what is half of 80. I'm not really sure what half of 90 is. How about I look at half of 100? Is 50. So if 90 is halfway in between 80 and 100, what's halfway between 40 and 50? What's halfway between 40 and 50? 45. So I'm getting closer. I need 91. I need to know what half of 91 is. If half of 90 is 45, what's half of 91? What's half of 1? 0.5, right? So I only need to know what 91 is, so that'd be 45 plus 0.5. And then I could have just done dividing 91 by 2. Just trying to show you different strategies. Yeah, it is just basic math, dividing 91 by 2, or thinking about it logically to try to get there. So we have 45.5 millimeters squared. All right, it says find the height of a triangle if the area is 48 square millimeters and the base is 24 millimeters. So the first thing I would do is I would write down a formula, just like I did when I started this problem, just like I did when I started this problem. You should just write down the formula. I can give you credit if you actually can pick the right formula. That tells me that you're on the right track. It's better than getting no points at all. So which formula am I going to write down here? So it says we're talking about a triangle here and we're talking about the area. So I would start with that. Area equals 1/2 the base times the height. How many variables are in this equation? It has an equal sign. How many variables are in this equation? There's 3 variables. So I need to figure out if I can substitute in some other given values. What's in the word problem that I can substitute in here? What's 48 stand for? Okay, so it says area is, they told me what the area is. What else did they tell me? It says the base is, so there's 2 places that I can substitute in for. So I'm going to do that. It says the area is 48. Where do I substitute that into this equation? Which variable am I going to substitute it in for? Maybe we're not sure on that. Let's try the next one. Where do I substitute in 24 millimeters? What does it say that the 24 millimeters is? What did I underline? Remember, we're always trying to make phrases by putting squares around it, underlining it. It says the base is 24. So I should be substituting that in for the base. So I have 1/2 times the base, and I'm just going to put another parenthesis for my h. That says the base is. That tells me I know what the base is. The base is not unknown. The base is 24. What would I do? Didn't do that right. The base is 24. I know what the base is. It's not unknown. Look at it again and see where you think you might be substituting 48 in. What do you got? It says that the area is 48. Well, A represents area. So that means I need to put that in for my A. A is 48. The area is 48. The area is not unknown. The base isn't unknown. I'm going to read the question one more time to see if I have this substituted in correctly. In the beginning, it says, find the what? The height. So what is the unknown here? The height. So I do not know what h is. Height is the unknown this time. All right, let's simplify this down, and then we're going to solve for h. I need to simplify this right here. What does this say? Half of 24. Half times 24. Well, what is half of 24? 12. So I know I've got 48. Looks like your answer is correct, Caitlin. And then it's 12 times h, or just 12h. And now we just have a one-step equation. Do you know how to solve a one-step equation? What's being done to h? It's being multiplied. The opposite of multiplying 12 is, we're going to divide by 12, divide by 12. Our 12s cancel. And we get that the height is 2. 2 what? What do you think the height is going to be? 2 what? We need to have units. Millimeters. So we're going to say the height equals 2 millimeters. Got to have those units. I'll have to take off points if you don't. Let's look at the second side and see what perimeter is. So I have a very naughty little dog, and I need to put the fence up on the perimeter to keep my dog in. Where am I going to put the fence? Around the outside. I am a carpenter, and I'm coming to your house to put some linoleum down. Where am I going to put the linoleum in the kitchen? I'm going to put it right in the space that's on the floor. So area is about covering in the inside on the floor, and perimeter is about going around the outside. I have perimeter of a rectangle. Well, I'm trying to find the perimeter of a rectangle. Well, I'd want to add up all the sides. L plus L plus W plus W. I'd want to know all the sides. So the perimeter is adding up L plus W plus W. And we can shorten that a little bit because it's actually L plus L is 2L. 1L plus 1L is 2L. 1W plus 1W is 2W. So what I could actually do is I could do 2 times the length plus 2 times W, the width. However you want to think about it. If this is new to you and you want to just add up all the sides going around, fine. We know that opposite sides of a rectangle are the same. Opposite sides are the same. Perimeter, if I had a funky looking yard that looked like this, which I am looking for property, and you'd be surprised how weird land looks out there, you'd still want to put a fence around the outside. That means you're going to add up A plus B plus C. You're still adding up everything, even though it's a triangle. And so here we see the perimeter of our triangle is still the same. You're going to add up going around the outside. So perimeter is about going around the outside. Area is about filling in the inside. Okay. I want you to do 1, 2, and 3. Find the perimeter of a rectangle, and a triangle. Find the perimeter. Let's do number 1, and then I'll do it, and then you can do the rest. Find the perimeter. Do I have all the information on the figure that I need? Could I fill in some stuff? Yes, we know that opposite sides are the same. If this is 7 inches, then the opposite side over here will also be 7 inches. If the shorter side is 3 inches, then the other side will also be 3 inches. And it's not going to be squared because you're not multiplying. You're just adding them up. So 7 plus 7 plus 3 plus 3, or I could say 10 plus 10. Remember, we always look for those compatible numbers. 7 plus 3 is 10. So 10 plus 10, the perimeter, P, is going to be 20 inches. That's it. You're not multiplying. X times X is X squared. But here we're just adding them up. So you just put inches. 7 inches plus 3 inches plus 7 inches plus 3 inches is 20 inches. Okay, finish the next 2. I love compatible numbers. 9 plus 6 is 15. So 15 and 15 is 30 meters. And then on the last one, I'm just adding them up as I go around. I'm going to start with 23 and 21. You get 44 plus 17. All right, last one. You're going to have word problems. It says find the length of a rectangle if the width is 4.7 meters and the perimeter is 12.6 meters. The first thing that you want to do is write down the formula you're going to use. Go ahead and write down your formula. It says find the length of a rectangle. That tells me 2 things. Rectangle is the figure that I'm using, and the unknown variable is going to be the length. So I'm going to start with writing down the formula. Perimeter equals 2 times L plus 2 times W. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. I already know that my length is unknown. So now what does it say? It says if the width is 4.7 meters. So I know the width is 4.7. So I have 2 times my width, which is 4.7. And then I still have 2L. I know that's the unknown. And the perimeter is 12.6. I know what the perimeter is. It's 12.6 meters. So I have 12.6. And I'll put my units on at the end. All right, we need to simplify before we can start solving. I need to simplify 2 times 4.7. Go ahead and do that. What is 2 times 4.7? And there's 1 decimal plus, or you could have gone 4.7 plus 4.7, lining up your decimals. So we get 9.4. And now I'm ready to solve this 2-step equation. There are 2 things being done to the variable. Which one do I undo first? Do I undo multiplying or adding first? You undo your adding and subtracting first. So I'm going to subtract 9.4. And I know the rule for adding and subtracting is to line up those decimals. I'm subtracting. 6 minus 4 is 2. Bring down my decimal, and then 12 minus 9 is 3. The last thing I need to do is undo that multiplication. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. 3.2 divided by 2. Basic division. Bring your decimal up in the problem. You don't have to move it because I have a whole number. 2 goes into 3 once. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract. Bring down your number. And then 2 into 12 goes 6 times. It goes in evenly. Our final answer here then is going to be that the length equals 1.6. What was the units used? Right now I have an 1/8 off because I didn't put the units down. What's the unit? Eugene, what's the unit used here? Meters. You won't have any word problems like that today. We're just going to get used to area and perimeter. You've got 2 papers. It says rectangle. It says rectangle perimeter, and then the second one says area of squares and rectangles.